and to go beyond the conventional roles that women were expected to settle for.
Barbra Streisand and Elvis Presley, two titans of American music and culture, were unmatched in their talents, each commanding a global fan base and securing a place in history as icons whose legacies still shape the entertainment world today. But behind the glittering lights and roaring crowds lies a lesser-known moment, a single pivotal juncture where their worlds nearly collided in a way that could have rewritten both music and movie history. For decades, whispers and rumors have surrounded this intriguing chapter, a meeting that almost happened, an offer that was made, and a decision that stunned fans across generations. Why didn't it happen? Was it a clash of egos, a matter of money, or something more personal and profound? And why has Barbra Streisand remained silent for so long about what truly transpired? Now, after years of speculation, Streisand is finally breaking her silence, shedding new light not just on Elvis himself, but on the powerful figures who surrounded, and perhaps even controlled him. This isn't merely a tale of two stars. It's a story about power, missed opportunities, and the haunting "what if" that has lingered for nearly half a century. Once you hear what Barbra has revealed, you may never look at Elvis the same way again. Barbra Streisand holds a unique place in the history of entertainment, becoming the only artist with #1 albums across 6 decades. Her name resonates across generations, genres, and continents, not merely as a singer, actress, or director, but as a cultural phenomenon. With her unmatched voice, striking authenticity, and fierce determination, she carved out a legacy that's uniquely her own. Born Barbra Joan Streisand in Brooklyn, New York in 1942, her early life was modest. Her father died when she was a baby, and her mother worked as a school secretary. But from a young age, Barbra stood out not only for her extraordinary voice but for her unshakable ambition. Even as a teenager, she was determined not just to be famous, but to be remembered. Singing in nightclubs by her late teens, her rich, emotional, and utterly unique voice drew immediate attention. She didn't look or sound like anyone else, and she never tried to. Her individuality became her greatest strength. In 1962, she signed with Columbia Records, launching a recording career that would soon catapult her to stardom. Her debut album, the Barbra Streisand Album, released in 1963, won her 2 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year. Critics praised her vocal control, interpretive depth, and fearless song choices. By age 21, she was in a league of her own. She didn't stop at music. Her acting debut in Broadway's I Can Get It For You Wholesale paved the way for her Oscar-winning performance in Funny Girl, a role that introduced her to a global film audience. From that moment on, she wasn't just a music star, she was a movie star too, a rare feat few have achieved. Through the 1970s and 1980s, Streisand's career soared with chart-topping albums and iconic films like The Way We Were and The Prince of Tides, all while earning awards at an extraordinary pace. Her voice, simultaneously powerful and delicate, became legendary. But Streisand was never one to settle. She constantly evolved, challenging herself with ambitious projects. In 1983, she became the first woman to write, produce, direct, and star in a major studio film with Yentl, a deeply personal story she fought for over 15 years to bring to the screen. Her efforts paid off. The film won her the Golden Globe for Best Director, making her the first woman ever to receive that honor. Her vision was bold, thoughtful, and utterly original. She didn't just want to perform in someone else's story, she wanted to shape her own. In later years, Barbra continued to release new music with messages of hope, love, and social awareness. Albums like the Broadway album, Higher Ground, and Walls showcased her deep care for meaningful storytelling and her willingness to use her platform to speak from the heart. Her authenticity remained constant, and her music never stopped evolving. Beyond entertainment, Streisand made an enormous philanthropic impact. Through the Streisand Foundation, she supported causes ranging from education and civil rights to women's health and environmental preservation. Her generosity reached institutions and advocacy groups worldwide, embedding service and justice into her legacy. Streisand has also broken barriers, not only artistically but socially. She has long championed equality, inclusivity, and truth. Her success opened doors for women in film, for Jewish artists in mainstream media, and for performers who dared to defy industry molds. From her signature Streisand effect to her bold political stances, Barbra remains one of the most celebrated and polarizing figures in entertainment history. However, her career hasn't been without controversy. Known for her perfectionism, she has drawn both admiration and criticism. Collaborators often describe her as exacting and meticulous, while others have called her difficult, especially during productions like Yentl, where she juggled multiple demanding roles. Her perfectionism, while challenging to some, also drove her to groundbreaking achievements. The controversy also revealed Hollywood's double standards, where assertive women in power are often labeled as controlling. Streisand has also faced backlash for her outspoken political activism. A fierce supporter of liberal causes and Democratic candidates, she often used her platform to voice her views. During the George W. Bush administration, her strong opposition to the Iraq War drew criticism from conservatives and media outlets alike. Her concerts at times included political monologues that divided audiences. Some praised her bravery, while others accused her of being out of touch. One particularly ironic controversy was the origin of the term Streisand effect. In 2003, she sued to suppress aerial photographs of her Malibu estate as part of a coastal erosion project. Her intention was to protect her privacy, but the lawsuit backfired spectacularly, drawing massive public attention to the photos and giving rise to a now widely used term to describe efforts to censor information that only amplify it instead. While her privacy concerns were valid, the incident highlighted the risk celebrities face in the digital age. Streisand's candid public statements have occasionally landed her in hot water. During the COVID-19 lockdowns, she tweeted praise about California's cleaner air, inadvertently sparking criticism for being tone-deaf amidst widespread suffering. In 2019, her comments about the Michael Jackson documentary also drew backlash, as many perceived her remarks to be insensitive. These moments reflect the complex landscape public figures must navigate today, where every word can spark praise or outrage in equal measure. Despite all the challenges, controversies, and criticisms, Barbra Streisand has remained a force of nature. Her impact on music, film, culture, and philanthropy is profound. She is a woman who never stopped pushing boundaries, who demanded excellence, and who believed in the power of her own voice. Whether admired or debated, her legacy is undeniable. And now, as she begins to open up about one of the most intriguing what-ifs in music history, her almost collaboration with Elvis, fans and historians alike are finally getting a glimpse into a moment that could have changed everything. Barbra Streisand and the Leaving Neverland controversy. When the documentary Leaving Neverland was released, it reignited global discussions about Michael Jackson and the allegations of sexual abuse made by accusers featured in the film. Barbra Streisand, while discussing the documentary, stated that she believed the accusers. However, she also made remarks that were widely interpreted as minimizing the trauma they endured, suggesting that the victims were thrilled to be there and that it didn't kill them. These comments sparked immediate backlash. Streisand quickly issued a public apology, clarifying her position and expressing regret for her choice of words. She emphasized her support for abuse survivors and reaffirmed her stance against sexual abuse. Nonetheless, the incident ignited broader conversations about how public figures address sensitive issues, the language they use, and the impact their words can have on survivors and advocacy communities. Barbra Streisand's complex relationship with the media. Throughout her career, Streisand has maintained a famously complicated relationship with the press. Known for her intense privacy and cautious approach to publicity, she has at times avoided media tours and limited her availability to reporters. This approach led some journalists to label her as distant, guarded, or even combative. Critics argue that her strict control over how she's portrayed in the media suggests she's overly image-conscious. However, her supporters see it differently. They believe Streisand is simply asserting her right to dignity and discretion in an industry that often rewards sensationalism over substance. In recent years, her focus has shifted more toward legacy and introspection. Her 2023 memoir, My Name is Barbra, was lauded for its honesty, humor, and reflection, offering intimate stories of triumph and hardship, and insights into a life lived largely in the public eye. Elvis Presley, from poverty to global icon. Elvis Presley, often hailed as the king of rock and roll, rose from humble beginnings to become a defining figure in 20th century music and culture. Born on January 8, 1935, in a small two-room house in Tupelo, Mississippi, Elvis grew up in poverty. He was deeply close to his mother, Gladys, and was raised in a household that often struggled financially due to his father's inconsistent employment. Despite these hardships, music was a constant presence in his life. From a young age, he was drawn to gospel music in church, which laid the foundation for his future sound. After the family moved to Memphis in 1948, Elvis attended Humes High School and began performing locally. His talent remained largely unrecognized until 1953, when he recorded a song at Sun Studio as a gift for his mother, a moment that changed everything. The birth of a legend and rise to fame. Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun Studio, quickly saw Elvis's potential. In 1954, Elvis recorded "That's All Right," a revolutionary track that blended blues and country in a way never heard before. The single catapulted him into local stardom, and soon, he was performing regularly across Memphis. His unique sound, charisma, and electrifying stage presence quickly attracted attention. By 1956, after signing with RCA Records, Elvis had become a national sensation. That year alone saw the release of "Heartbreak Hotel," his first #1 hit, and his debut album Elvis Presley, which topped the charts. But it wasn't just his music that set him apart. His style and movements shocked conservative audiences. His provocative dance moves, especially his famous hip gyrations, made him a lightning rod for controversy but also a symbol of youthful rebellion and cultural change. Cultural impact and musical innovation. Elvis's music fused gospel, blues, country, and rhythm and blues, creating a genre-defining rock and roll sound that resonated with diverse audiences. He played a crucial role in bridging racial divides in music, bringing African-American music styles into the mainstream and reshaping the musical landscape of America. While artists like Chuck Berry and Little Richard had pioneered the genre, Elvis's widespread appeal, partly because he was white, meant he became the face of rock and roll. This has led to decades-long debates about cultural appropriation. Although Elvis frequently expressed his admiration for black artists, many critics argue that he profited from their innovations while they remained marginalized by the music industry. This controversy remains central to discussions about race, music, and fame in America. Military service and career transformation. In 1958, at the peak of his fame, Elvis was drafted into the U.S. Army. While some fans admired his sense of duty, others feared it would derail his career. He served from 1958 to 1960, mostly stationed in Germany, where he was promoted to sergeant. His service earned him public respect, but upon returning, there was a noticeable shift in his career. His post-army music and film choices were seen as less groundbreaking, and critics claimed that his work had lost its earlier edge. This period was marked by formulaic films and music that didn't match the innovation of his earlier work, signaling the beginning of a decline in his artistic creativity. Personal life, controversy, and decline. Elvis's personal life became the subject of intense public scrutiny, especially his relationship with Priscilla Presley. They met when Priscilla was just 14 and Elvis was in his mid-20s, sparking concerns about their significant age gap. They married in 1967, but their relationship was fraught with controversy. Priscilla later spoke about feeling isolated and controlled during their marriage. This dynamic raised ongoing questions about Elvis's behavior and attitudes toward women. As his career progressed into the 1970s, Elvis struggled increasingly with health and substance abuse. His physical appearance changed dramatically, and his dependence on prescription drugs was widely reported. Performances became inconsistent, and while his passion for music remained, he was clearly battling personal demons. Legacy and enduring influence. Despite his struggles, Elvis Presley remains one of the most influential figures in music history. His songs, like Jailhouse Rock, Hound Dog, Love Me Tender, and Can't Help Falling in Love, are still celebrated around the world. He transformed the entertainment industry, helped popularize rock and roll, and became a cultural icon whose legacy endures nearly half a century after his death in 1977. Yet, alongside his musical genius lies a complex story of fame, cultural tension, personal turmoil, and the heavy cost of life in the spotlight. From his earlier shows, Barbra Streisand and Elvis Presley have captivated audiences, each leaving an indelible mark on music and culture. Both are among the most iconic figures in music history. Their careers, spanning decades, revolutionized their respective genres and helped shape the entertainment landscape. While both achieved superstardom, their journeys and legacies are remarkably different. Streisand and Presley brought authenticity and emotional depth to their performances, Streisand through powerful, soaring ballads and Broadway elegance, and Presley with raw, high-energy rock and roll. Streisand elevated pop and Broadway music with her unmatched vocal range and emotional delivery, setting new standards for generations of performers. Elvis, meanwhile, transformed rock and roll by blending gospel, blues, and country into something entirely new, laying the groundwork for future rock legends. Though their musical styles rarely overlapped, both artists introduced innovation, passion, and depth into their crafts, becoming legends in their own right. In terms of career achievements, both Streisand and Presley have left behind legacies that are nearly impossible to surpass. Streisand has won 2 Oscars, 10 Grammy Awards, and has sold over 150 million records worldwide. She has also succeeded as a director, producer, and philanthropist, becoming a powerful symbol of artistic excellence and women's empowerment in entertainment. Elvis, too, earned immense acclaim with 3 Grammy Awards and more than 600 million albums sold. He also appeared in over 30 films, many of which were commercially successful despite mixed critical reception. His songs, like Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, and Can't Help Falling in Love, remain timeless favorites. Their public personas, however, differ greatly. Streisand is known for her fierce independence and outspoken advocacy on social and political issues. She's never hesitated to speak her mind, whether through her music, acting roles, or public appearances. Elvis, on the other hand, was more reserved, rarely engaging in political discourse. He rose to fame during an era when public figures were less vocal about societal issues, focusing instead on performance and showmanship. One of the most intriguing what-if moments in music history involves the possibility of a collaboration between Streisand and Presley. In the 1970s, Streisand reportedly showed interest in working with Elvis on a project. Though it never happened, the idea sparks endless curiosity. How would their vastly different styles have merged? Could the elegance of Streisand's Broadway background have blended with Presley's electrifying rock presence? The answer remains a mystery, but the thought is undeniably tantalizing. In a recent interview, Streisand reflected on this possibility and on Elvis's legacy. She admitted that although they were contemporaries and existed within the same entertainment ecosystem, she never personally knew or collaborated with him. Nonetheless, she acknowledged his monumental influence, describing him as a phenomenon with an irreplaceable energy and magnetic stage presence. He had something that no one could replicate, Streisand said. When he walked into a room, you could feel it. She also explained why a collaboration might not have worked. I was so consumed with my own work, my own music and artistry, that I never really thought about collaborating with him, she said. We were both doing our own things, and there wasn't much overlap in terms of our musical styles. When asked again whether she regretted not working with him, Streisand responded thoughtfully, I don't know if we could have worked together. He had his thing, and I had mine. Despite the missed opportunity, Streisand spoke admiringly of Elvis's contributions to music and culture. He wasn't just a performer, she said, he was a cultural force. His influence went beyond his voice. He changed how artists were perceived in society. She contrasted his spontaneous improvisational style with her own perfectionist approach. I would rehearse and rehearse until everything felt just right. Elvis had this freedom in his performances. That was part of his charm. Later in the interview, Streisand discussed Elvis's enduring legacy and how it continues to inspire new generations of artists. She pointed to performers like Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars, and Justin Timberlake as examples of musicians influenced by Presley's energy, stage presence, and performance style. You can hear his influence in the way they move, the way they connect with their audience, she said. She also noted that, while they never crossed paths personally, she always admired his ability to cross over into film. We were both in the movie business, though in different ways, she remarked. I loved his screen presence. It wasn't polished, but it was raw and real, and that's what made him a star.